Mitchell served Susan Rice and she went to town with it. Obama National Security Advisor. Susan Rice, who's reportedly on Biden's VP shortlist, making bold claims yesterday about the administration's narrative surrounding Russian bounties. Senator, since Andrew Mitchell didn't follow up, why don't you follow up and tell us, is the president giving way on every turn to Vladimir Putin?
Hardly, Brian. Thanks for having me on. So, as the president's national security advisor has said, as the Department of Defense said, now as the intelligence community has said, this intelligence was not corroborated, it was not verified, it was not briefed to the president for that reason. But it's not surprising to me that Susan Rice, in an effort to be Joe Biden's vice president, is distorting those facts. Susan Rice was the typhoid Mary of the Obama-era foreign policy, and Joe Biden, as Secretary of Defense Bob Gates has said, has been wrong about every major foreign policy decision of the last 40 years. So those two would go together very well. Let's look at the two records here. President Obama stood by as Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. When Ukraine begged for defensive aid, they sent blankets. President Trump sent Javelin anti-tank missiles. Let's look at President Obama's record of arms control. We negotiated a terrible arms control treaty with Russia that leaves us at risk of being outgunned by Russia and China combined. President Trump has been eliminating obsolete arms control treaties from the Cold War. So at every turn, President Trump has been much tougher on Russia than President Obama ever was.
I mean, let's find out what happened here. The other thing I walk away with, and you're the guy who's in the infantry, is we have to have a presence in Afghanistan. If we pull out, we're turning that country over to Russia and eventually to China and to Iran. Please tell me how that's in our interest after 19 years of sacrifice. We have to make sure that government takes root, and this deal with the Taliban is a train wreck. But I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, it's clear that President Trump wants to put an end to the war in Afghanistan, and I think that's what most Americans want. But what President Trump doesn't want is for Afghanistan to turn into what Iraq and Syria became after President Obama withdrew from there in 2011, a safe haven for ISIS, not only to take over territory and terrorize the local people, but to use it to launch attacks against the United States and our allies and our citizens around the